What's going on, everyone? So today we're gonna have some fun. We're gonna have some quick games with Kazuda Red, hopefully winning on turn 3. We've got some new additions. Again, I say new, but realistically, I mean, we've been, kind of in the same set for quite some time at this point. But, cards like Aggressive Negotiations, Sudden Ferocity get a little bit of value. So Aggressive Negotiations can sometimes hit for more simply because we do have cards like Heroic Sacrifice or Sudden Ferocity that are playing from our discard pile that are going to give us the opportunity to have some little bit of extra cards in hand, in theory at least. That's the game plan. Of course, you can do some surprise hits if you just stall out an action, maybe get some extra power on it. But that's kind of the game plan today. A huge thank you to my patrons over on Patreon, guys. It has been an absolute blast going through these first 6 sets. Rotation is coming, and it is going to shake up a lot of things. With that said, we've got a whole bunch of games to get through. Let's dive straight in with the Heroic Sack Trench Run that works with Kazuda. You might have known about a few of these things. So let's just get into some games and see if we can win. Alrighty, into our first game and up against an opponent that's going to be doing something very similar to us. Let's go ahead and, well, resource our first hand, or mulligan our first hand. I'm not super happy with this hand, but we're going to make it work. N1 Starfighter coming down. We've got the Millennium Falcon, which can start picking off their units. My opponent's just going to have a lot of units in this earlier turns. The question is, do I want to race, or do I just want to ignore units and go for the base? It's a good question. We'll have to kind of determine what they're playing. What they've just played makes me want to kind of go in the direction of I can kill off all your units and still get enough value to win. So I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and smack into the A-Wing here. I'm going to go with the route of killing off all their units because I'm going to get the Millennium Falcon, immediately be able to attack, which I think is going to be super powerful. And then I have the ability just to swap things around and just do some incredible amounts of damage. Okay, let's go Millennium Falcon. Not to mention if they did have like Sanctioner Shuttle or something like that, which these decks often do play, it would be pretty bad for us. So, sure, let's go ahead and attack into their base. This is actually totally okay, because if they attack our Millennium Falcon, we Tarkin Town theirs. If we attack theirs, then we kind of lose our Millennium Falcon. Them having Millennium Falcon was pretty good, but now they are kind of in a spot where they lose a resource, whereas we just go Heroic Sacrifice onto their Millennium Falcon. We can then follow that up with Crackshot V-Wing plus Kazuda or something. It is a little bit risky to play this direction, since my opponent could potentially have more value when Han Solo comes down, but this is going to be okay. Wow, okay. The third Heroic Sacrifice was not what we wanted to see, but that is okay. We'll make it work. Spare the target, really? Yeah, I am totally okay with that. In fact, that is exactly what we wanted. The fact that they went spare the target is insanely good for us. Yeah, that was about as good as it possibly could get. That was incredible. Yeah, that's just incredible. I think we'll resource probably... Honestly, probably one of this Heroic Sacrifices. I'm going to go Sudden Ferocity V-Wing here. I could kill off their units to prevent them from playing a bunch of cards this turn. Maybe I just do that, because I'll draw a card and maybe I can draw another space unit. Okay, drew another Millennium Falcon. That could be good. They got another Millennium Falcon. All right. That is the game plan that they've hosted here. Let's see what they're going to do with that Millennium Falcon. They're going to go Sudden Ferocity. I think in this spot, what we'll do is go Sudden Ferocity on our own unit. This is going to be a weird one. We've killed off all their units, but we have Millennium Falcon in our hand, so I like our position better. I was expecting them to trade here, and I think that's super favorable for us, like super favorable for us. I will resource, I guess the Heroic Sacrifice, because I will go Millennium Falcon here. And I mean, we are in a pretty good position because of this. Let's go ahead and just give a little value to Millennium Falcon. We'll go ahead and hit in for 2 into the base. We've got Han Solo. We'll go ahead and attach to Millennium Falcon here. Just kind of preserving my resources and playing this attrition game. Very, very different than what I could have done. I could have potentially raced them, but again, it really depends on what their hand could have been. So there's the Sanctioner Shuttle. That's exactly what I've been kind of worried about this entire time. Had they had that, it would have been pretty bad for us. So now all we need to do is potentially just kind of close out the game. I mean, they could have another Sanctioner Shuttle, to be honest. They could have another Sanctioner Shuttle. And if they do, it's pretty bad for us again. So I think, yeah, we'll just go ahead and knock out the Sanctioner Shuttle. We'll get down the Stolen AT Hauler. Or potentially just go Sudden Ferocity on the unit. Okay, Plo Koon in the other pile. That's actually totally fine. So now we just win the game, essentially. Don't need to resource anything. We've got Aggressive Negotiations in for 4. We've got Trench Run in, which we don't have a fighter unit, but that's okay. I think we just go Aggressive Negotiations in for 4. And then we just smack in with this Stolen AT Hauler. We can play the Millennium Falcon out if we want. But taking out my opponent's units was definitely the safer play. In at least our hand having the Millennium Falcons and everything, it ended up being a lot more valuable for us. The thing that was worrying was the Sanctioner Shuttle. Like I said, most decks will play this. And if they did Sanctioner Shuttle away a Falcon, we suddenly are left with like 2/2s and things like that. I mean, look at what we had, right? We had Falcon, which, you know, I guess they could have like stolen our N1 Starfighter. We play Falcon, we have to deal with that unit, but it's just a little bit more obnoxious. They get that like action economy back on their side. Whereas, you know, we could just leverage the fact that we've got an early deploy and a little bit extra value to knock out all their space units. So I think that was the play. Very, very different game than what I thought was going to happen. I was expecting some fast wins, but I played a little bit more of a... Into the next matchup, we got ourselves Maw Blue. And this one is I have to attack in order to get my value. But I'm going to keep this hand. Our space units can die very quickly. Like N1 Starfighter can die very quickly. But because they don't have like the Virgin's Temple, they're not gonna like immediately be able to use their action. N1 Starfighter is still gonna die fast. The question is, do I want to go with like Stolen AT Hauler or Millennium Falcon on turn 2? Actually, I think it's a pretty... Well, it's close, actually, because my opponent has Power of the Dark Side, and they power the Dark Side away a Stolen AT Hauler. The game is pretty rough for us at that point. So we get to go N1 Starfighter. They're gonna go out and attack, deal their 1 damage to things, move on with their life. Let's see what we draw. Can't see an immediate resource there. It's just basically a 5 resource smuggle option for us in this deck. The Surprise Strike looks good. Stolen AT Hauler could be good, but we'll have to see what my opponent wants to do. They're going to straight up go for the race. Okay, I mean, you know what? That's not even a bad... I mean, that is just a good play, to be honest. I think that is the way you go in this matchup. It's going to be tough for them to kind of compete without like excessive removal options. Now, it's still going to be tough for them to compete. They're going to be able to deal 1 damage to each of these things, and the next turn they're going to be able to do another 1 damage to each of those things. They're not going to use the Force. Maybe they have Talzin's Assassin then, is what I'm thinking. Okay, there's a Sudden Ferocity. I'll just go ahead and resource that one. Talzin's Assassin, question mark. Okay, I mean, I'm just going to get in with the attack with the N1 Starfighter. And then I guess we'll see where we end up afterwards. I will go ahead and deploy onto the Stolen AT Hauler, most likely. remove the Millennium Falcon ability, and I will play the Millennium Falcon this turn. Okay, so they are going to go Tal's Assassin. They should have played Tal's Assassin first, probably just to kill the N1 Starfighter. That is okay. Do I want to play Sudden Ferocity? No. So my opponent's got a lot of damage. I mean, they are going to, like, win the game, essentially, here very shortly. We didn't draw a bunch of interaction here, unfortunately. Or a bunch of, like, deal extra damage, unfortunately. That's what I was looking for. We technically do have lethal with, even if one of these units dies before we can make an action. So that's good. Force Lightning. Well, that is something that does cause a little bit of trouble for us. We go Surprise Strike in. And then we go with Han Solo. And now they have to take initiative. And we just have to hope that we draw. I should have put Han Solo on Millennium Falcon, actually, because this is a fighter. So it didn't matter that the extra trigger, but... Oh, they attacked? That's odd. They just gave us the win guarantee. We drew Aggressive Negotiation, so it wouldn't have mattered. But if I had drawn, like, let's say, Trench Run, and they had, let's say, I don't know, killed the N1 Starfighter, they took initiative and then killed the N1 Starfighter, we wouldn't have been able to win this turn. Like, and then we would have just lost because they would have had the attacks in. So, potentially lost, I suppose, because we have the Cassian. So there still would have been, you know, a little bit of finesse. But very, very close game, actually. Even with the Force Lightning and the Tal's Assassin. Very aggressive hand from them. I think that's the way to play it. So, good game. Alrighty, we've got ourselves a matchup against Thrawn. This hand's actually pretty close. I actually do like Sanctioner Shuttle in this matchup, but we're not going to really able to have a good Sanctioner Shuttle, you know, turn. So I think I'm going to mulligan this first one. This one's also not exactly super exciting, but we do have the black one, which could work out. We'll just have to see. We will just have to see. Opponent's got the Val, so they're going to go in that direction. I think Val is quite solid in these games if you can set up the right sequence for it. We've got two plays here that we could make. I think I'll resource the Surprise Strike as a result. I want to keep the Millennium Falcon around, and I do want to keep the 2 units because I will play both of those units on this turn. Wolfpack Escort is actually kind of interesting because I could, you know, do some weird things with, like, Cassian, but it would be a little bit tricky. Okay, consumed by the dark side. Sure. Let's just go ahead and smack in for 2. So that can be scary, but they're going to be, oh my gosh. Okay, well, that's a very, very gigantic unit already, similar to the previous match. We just have to race them, you know, and that's what they decided to do. So fair enough. I think we're pretty advantaged here, but we will find out if we're able to race them. I mean, 5 damage a turn is a lot. They could have other things to pump the Val, like emergency powers or another covert strength. They happen to have a shuttle. So shuttle ends up being decent here, but not too crazy. Let's go ahead and put down Millennium Falcon. We can go ahead and remove all abilities. We can then go ahead and Heroic Sacrifice in with the Millennium Falcon. Another black one drawn, not exactly what I wanted, but we are going to deploy onto black one because it's going to give us 1 more power. Let's pass. We've got Sudden Ferocity. That could be relevant. The Millennium Falcon, of course, is relevant, and the Cassians are relevant. Very, very close game. It's closer than it looks, because if they start picking off some units, then it can be a little bit scary for us. Shuttle is good. Let's see what my opponent's got here. Okay. Let's just get in for 6. Very different game than I was expecting, to be honest. Okay, let's go ahead and smack in for 3. I'm not going to play the Sudden Ferocity yet until I see what they've got. Great, now we can go Sudden Ferocity, and it's probably GG. We could have also taken initiative, but may as well just go ahead and end the game here and now. So yeah, they raced us. They didn't necessarily race us, but they had a very aggressively positioned hand where they just go all in on all their units. But, we just are so much more tuned to do that. They played a 2-4, and then we play, multiple 2-powered units, right? So even if they went Covert Strength plus Consumed by the Dark Side, which is an extra 3 power, on our turn 2, we went with a 2 power and a 3 power. So we ended up getting 5 power instead of just an additional 3. So it just ended up outpacing them over the long run. Into the next hand here. And I think I'm going to just resource these 2. We've got a double 1-drop turn. I know they could have, Bazine, Garindans, things like that they could take apart our hand. We could mulligan to try to find a better hand, but I think this is just going to be as good as it gets. Unfortunately, we draw another 3-drop, so, oh well. They're going to be able to kill off the V-Wing. It happens. Not much that we can do about that. Trench Run, not looking all that great since my all my things are transports. There's a Garindan. Wow. And they're going to kill my V-Wing. I guess we could potentially try to save it. They took the Millennium Falcon. Yeah, we'll just go ahead in for 2. We'll play the other Millennium Falcon. Very, very solid hand from our opponent. Not that it's unexpected by any means, right? This is what... Oh, wow, they didn't... They didn't actually kill one of their units to kill off the V-Wing. I'm very surprised. Okay. Well, that gives us some excitement then, because I can go like this and then Heroic Sacrifice in for a little bit of damage. We can deploy Kazuda on the Millennium Falcon. They could have Maclunkies or things like that. They generally don't have too many ways. No Good to Me Dead is something that we have to be worried about, but they have to draw it, of course. So that's something to think of. So we'll see what they're going to do here. We'll see. We'll see. Opponent, I think I would have, instead of playing the Salacious Crumb, would have just rather killed off one of my units, but that works for us. Let's go ahead and deploy as a pilot. And I will play Sudden Ferocity. We're going to go for the value here. If Millennium Falcon gets No Good to Me deaded, it's probably GG anyways. And it did. It is what it is. If we don't go Sudden Ferocity, play like a black 1, what are we going to do? It's just unlucky that they happen to have it. The double hand attack plus the 1-drop to be able to sacrifice to Palpatine plus the No Good to Me dead. These are the things that we just need to avoid, and we just didn't. So not much that we can do about that, but that's okay. They don't have ramp at least, so we do have a little bit of time to kind of build up our Space Force here again. Gonna get rid of the Fireball. Let's go black 1 here. Let's go Sanctioner Shuttle. Let's just play out a couple of units. Yep, Sanctioner Shuttle. Let's grab the Garindan, I suppose. The Legacy run, killing it's going to be able to knock out the Millennium Falcon. Unless we do this. So we may as well do that to give us the potential option to get an attack in with that Millennium Falcon. So now they can defeat the Legacy run to kill off, these 2 units and do 1 damage to the Millennium Falcon. That's probably good for us. Or they have something else up their sleeve. I guess they could have... Wow, they have another No Good to Me dead. That is insane. Okay. Well, they could have also just attacked the Millennium Falcon with Legacy Run. And then they would have had to kill off the Millennium Falcon. But double No Good to Me dead is actually just incredibly gross. Oh, well. They're going to be able to kill off the Sanctioner Shuttle here. And then defeat the legacy run. I mean, oh my gosh, what a hand for up against us. They had the legacy run. They had the double no good to me dead. They're going to be able to hit my unit here. Oh, I'm surprised. I wonder if they forget about Palpatine's ability here. I mean, I'll play the Wolfpack Escort now. It's not like it really matters because they can just go ahead and defeat a unit to kill off the Wolfpack Escort. Ooh, and they have the Super Laser Technician, so that ends up being perfect for them. Again, the no good to me dead is what we had to fade. We just didn't. And well, we didn't fade either one of them. There's multiple. There's the Maclunky. So they're going to be able to start bouncing some things and doing some obnoxious things. Trench Run really doesn't do anything at this point, but I guess I'll keep. I have the Millennium Falcon. That's a good pickup. I will go with Millennium Falcon. They do have to have an answer to this Millennium Falcon. I mean, they can, deal a damage to it and try to steal it with Palpatine. I mean, that's going to be good. If we draw, I think we have, 2 more Heroic Sacrifices, 1 more Surprise Strike. Aggressive Negotiations even does it. Okay, they're going to try to kill that. Honestly, I'm surprised that they're even bothering. They could have just sacrificed and then gone for the steal with Palpatine, and that would have, I don't know. They could have tried to Maclunky away the Falcon. I don't know. I don't know what there's in their hand, but I think there are a few things that I should have done differently if my opponent did something differently. But it's hard to know what my opponent's going to be doing. They're going to take the Millennium Falcon, as they should. The game is going to end very quickly here. There's the Darth Vader. Hopefully they don't pull a Space Sentinel. P-38. All right. Aggressive Negotiations wins. Surprise Strike wins. Heroic Sacrifice wins. All of which wins. There's a Surprise Strike. That's GG. And that's all we had to wait for. Good game. Good game. Alrighty, into the next game. And, well, seems like a reasonable hand. My opponent's probably playing a bunch of space units in Boba Yellow. I don't know, but all right, they're gonna mulligan. I guess they reverted and then mulligan. We'll see what we can do here. I know I could give them initiative and maybe ambush something, but not really too fussed about it. Oh, I should have used the Kazuda action. Silly me. That's okay. Let's go out and smack into the TIE Bomber. Just getting value out of the Tarkin Town, really, is kind of the thought process there. I've got Darth Vader. Okay. Oh, man. I suppose we'll use Tarkin Town here. They're going to go with the Darth Vader. It would have been really nice to do the Fireball ambush thing. We'll take 3 indirect damage into our base. Take 1 more. Then we'll do Millennium Falcon things. Knock out the TIE Bomber. Wait, whoops. Didn't mean to undo, or didn't mean to use the action on the Falcon. I just misclicked there. Let's see. We've got Han Solo, which looks good. Crackshot V-Wing, which looks a little bit worse. Go ahead and pay 1 to keep this on the battlefield. My opponent's got the droid missile platform. I could knock that out, to be honest. Maybe that's worthwhile. Let's actually do that. They can deal some indirect damage to us, but then, I mean, it's a little bit risky because we kind of have to win the game shortly here. Let's Deploy as a pilot here. I'm just worried about, like, I think I don't resource. Actually, I do have to resource. I was thinking I don't resource, but then if I wanted to go aggressive negotiations, let's say I do have to resource. Punishing one, I mean, that can do some work for sure. Cartel Turncoat's a... Let's go Kazuda attack. Remove abilities on these guys. We go Trench Run. Cartel Turncoat, hit for 5, and then we pass. Should have removed the abilities on Fireball as well. Aggressive Negotiations hits for an additional 3 right now. If they go out and knock out, if this is their play Boba Fett. Game is, well, they've got the top of the summit. That was the only other thing that I was potentially worried about. Let's go ahead and play Wolfpack Escort. I know they can go ahead and smack this with the attack on 1 damage, but I'm kind of just like stalling a couple of actions here. We're going to go Fireball, no ambush. Maybe I should have just played Fireball and forced them to attack it. Aggressive Negotiations, sick. Sick. Good game to my opponent. It would have been pretty close. At the top of the summit was the critical factor there. Definitely a solid play. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I could have maybe done differently. I mean, obviously, I could have avoided some damage on the Fireball. I think on turn 1, if I had passed, my opponent just claims, and then they're just better off, so they don't need to do the whole Darth Vader thing. I could have gone Trench Run on turn 1 to kill off that, but if they had like Droid Missile Platform, that's pretty bad for us. Kind of tricky. It was a little bit of a tricky situation. Last turn, I could have gone Fireball, but it wouldn't have mattered. They had Aggressive Negotiations. I mean, they attacked, what, for 7 last turn? We were on 19, so we were on 12. Yeah, Aggressive Negotiation still would have won, so they just claim there they don't even need to attack. If we got Millennium Falcon, they just kill that. So, yeah, it was a pretty close game. Good game to my opponent. Alrighty, into the next set of games here. Not a huge fan of this hand. I did mulligan our first hand. We had no turn 1 plays. So... had to mulligan the first hand, but up against Cad Bane, not exactly an exciting one here. I'm going to play Black 1. We're going to play into their Cad Bane action. They can go ahead and do their thing. I mean, we're just going to claim. They're going to Tarkin Town. Who would have thought, right? Ooh, Dengar's really, really unfortunate for us. I mean, we're going to go with Cartel Turncoat, Crack Shot. Sanctioner Shuttle. Wow. Yeah, the game is basically over at this point. Unfortunately for us, that's just kind of the hand that they had. Just a good hand to deal with what we've got going on. Double 1-drop is kind of where you want. They've got upgrades on units. The Sanctuary Shuttle was pretty clutch. Not a whole lot that we can kind of do about this. Tarkin Town is pretty good. I mean, like I said, the game is pretty... I would think it'd be pretty much over, but we will find out here very shortly. Get rid of the Surprise Strike. Let's go ahead and, I mean, they already used Tarkin Town, so we may as well just go ahead and, let's go ahead and deploy him as a pilot. We can use Tarkin Town on the Sanctioner Shuttle if they attack it. Oh, boy, they got another Sanctioner Shuttle. Wow. What a hand from our opponent. I mean, this is insane. Okay. Yeah. Okay. That's claimed. They've got a very, very aggressive couple of cards here. We're going to see if maybe we could sneak out a win here. I could have resourced and deployed a Cassian. They're going to hit us for 8 plus maybe Surprise Strike. So that's not great. I mean, I don't know how we're going to be able to win this, especially if that's Surprise Strike. The problem with Sanctioner Shuttle, I could have potentially ignored it. Let's say I ignored it. They have Sanctioner Shuttle. We go Han Solo on our Black 1. We essentially would have gotten 5 extra damage in. But then they would have been left with Sanctioner Shuttle to go, like, let's say, Surprise Strike into Crackshot viewing. And if they do that, like, the game is basically just... I have, like, no chance to win. So I think I needed to deal with that space unit immediately. They still have a lot of opportunity. I mean, double Sanctuary Shuttle just put a little bit of a, stall in our step, which is really, really critical for this type of deck. Like, or for them, really. If they're able to stall out a couple actions, they can race us. And Hotshot Blaster, these are the types of cards, like, great play by them. Because now what we'll need is some sort of answer to this. Because now they attack with Dengar, and they have lethal with the Death Star Stormtrooper. Like I said, I didn't think we were going to win this game with that start. I mean, the Tarkin Town obviously good, but double one drop into Sanctuary Shuttle, which again isn't like super uncommon with Cad Bane, but just that type of game plan is exactly what you want, especially with another Anna breaking in. Yeah. Nothing that we could have done. I mean, we would have been close, right? I mean, we would have ended the game this turn for sure. This game would have been, it was down to like a couple of actions, which is where the Sanctioner Shuttle really came in clutch, right? That was the key. It was the Sanctioner Shuttles. Absolutely critical. Good game to my opponent. And that's how I like it, nice and fast. Into the next matchup. Sanctioner Shuttle could be relevant in this matchup, but honestly, I don't know if I want to I'll keep it. But I'm going to go, okay, so they have a space unit on turn 1. That's very good for them. Unlikely for them to have that in most situations, but ends up working out here for them. They're just going to trade. We're going to go Millennium Falcon. They're going to do their thing. We're going to go ahead and remove the abilities, hit for 3. They're going to resupply. Seems good. We draw Sanctioner Shuttle. Not exactly what we're looking for, but that's okay. I think I'm going to get rid of the Trench Run, honestly. Let's go ahead and remove all abilities. I will pilot. Okay, they have main deck Confiscate. Okay. And the Bright Hope. Wow. I mean, talk about a hand that is like built for what we are doing. My goodness. Oh my gosh. Confiscate and Bright Hope as the follow-up is insane. My gosh. Oh my goodness. All right. Well, not much that you could do about that when your opponent's got the absolute nuts against you. We're gonna go Heroic Sacrifice in. I mean, that is insane. I mean, that is just insane. Good stuff for my opponent, really. Main deck Confiscate, not the thing I often expect, but it does come up every once in a while. They got Luke. I mean, the game is completely over, right? We'll get in for 1 damage or 2 damage here. But they got Restore 3 plus Restore 2 here. Not a whole lot that they can do or we can do. We're gonna go ahead and play out our cards, but it's over. When you have a hand like that, I mean, geez, what an incredible hand. We're gonna try to go for the win with the Lightmaker, but like I said, I don't know what we're really gonna be able to do with that. This thing does hit in for 7, but we're still quite a bit short. They don't quite have lethal with these 2. Oh my gosh, they got home 1 too. Well, I mean, not that the home 1 mattered, honestly. It didn't really matter. Go Han Solo with piloting onto the Lightmaker. We'll trigger, hit the attack in. We're going to go Aggressive Negotiations. I mean, we did close to 33 damage, but my opponent with the absolute nuts up against us. I mean, like I said, Confiscate, Bright Hope, and Space Unit, early Space Unit, plus the ramp to get to the early Yoda. They even had the Rivals Fall in case they didn't have the Confiscate. Very, very good stuff. Everything is nothing out of the ordinary. There's not a crazy amount of space units in the Yoda deck. So you kind of just have to get fortunate enough to draw one of them. The blue leader is really good, but they didn't even mulligan. They just kept their hand and then moved on. But the thing that was really, really devastating, because if they went Rivals Fall, that's fine. At least we would have gotten some damage in. But the Confiscate is brutal. Usually I see like a 1 of, maybe a 2 of in some of the decks. So it's not like crazy uncommon, but that was brutal. We can't really play around it. Like if we play like ground Kazuda, we just don't have enough damage to get in. Or if we just like didn't pilot at all and we waited, you just don't have enough damage to close out the game against a 33 HP opponent. But that's a good game. It was a fast one too. So well played to my opponent. All right, what did we learn with Kazuda? Well, we had a lot of fun. There were a couple matches there that were absolute stomps from our end, and then a couple matches that were absolute stomps for our opponent's end. And that's just kind of how these games go. You know, if you're loading up a deck that's looking to be super aggressive, then you're going to have those very swingy matchups. Halfway through, I was thinking maybe I should run the Shadow Collective camp. I think on average, Tarkin Town's just going to be a little bit better, but there were a lot of games, I think maybe about half of them, where Tarkin Town literally just was not a factor. And I know I could go with a 30 HP base, and that could potentially win me some games, but Shadow Collective Camp is more fun. I think Shadow Collective Camp is more fun. Not only that, but also you're running aggressive negotiations, so getting that extra card draw. I mean, aggressive negotiations in some of those games hit for 3 to 4, so they're kind of acting as like additional surprise strikes, which is valuable. But you know, having that Shadow Collective Camp maybe hit for 4 or 5, right? Which would have been better than Surprise Strike and better than some other options here. So good stuff. Hopefully you all enjoyed. Thanks for watching, everyone. I love me some fast games, and I'll see you all for the next one.